Good afternoon, Veterans Council Veterans Facebook friends, LinkedIn connections, and YouTube subscribers. This is another episode, for those who don't know, April has been designated as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And this is the time we actually sit there and let them know about what's going on when it comes to sexual assault and awareness. But that's just the talking and awareness. That's not the doing. But let me show you a video that we may have seen a couple years ago, real quickly.
Seriously? Yo, what the f***? This morning I posted a TikTok about how unfair it is that I've dedicated my life to the military and the Marine Corps and everything that I've done, and that I was able to see my perpetrator in court, and how much it sucked that he was being forced out of the military, that he would be getting an honorable discharge. Well, not even 10 minutes ago, I just got word that this will be getting retained because it went all the way up across the board. Everybody said that they would not retain him. And the head honcho, the CG, with all of the proof and a admission to guilt, decided that they will retain him. And this is exactly why females in the military kill themselves.
Remember that? Remember that. That was 2 years ago. When we come back, we want to see if there's been any change since that Marine made that comment 2 years ago. But until then, intro. Good afternoon. Another episode for the April Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And I want to learn some couple tidbits at you. So first of all, for those who may or may not know, women veterans have twice the rate of suicide than non-women veterans. And the main reason why is military sexual assault. Did you know that? That's being aware. In fact, the trend is going the wrong way. In fact, it's the sexual assault awareness reporting and stuff that's going on actually is increasing higher. In fact, there's a 16% increase in sexual assault and harassment in the academies. There's also almost a 90% on the reports you look at, up to a 90% increase in the military overall when it comes to sexual assault reporting, and as well. And I tell you one thing, even though I mentioned women veterans have twice the rate of suicide, it's not just a woman's scenario. It's also males. And you're going to see that coming on as well. We had a YouTube about a week ago with a couple of male survivors, and somebody from Las Vegas, a veteran from Las Vegas, reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm so glad somebody's talking about us. Let me connect." So it's just not a female phenomenon; it's a woman phenomenon. But I want to show you something now. This is what the military is putting out. This is a broadcast by the Joint Military, and we'll just see what they say on this end. Like it's frozen.
Violence. We, the superintendents of America's service academies, are coming together to emphasize our ongoing collective commitment to prevent and combat sexual harassment and assault.
Sexual assault and sexual harassment are harmful behaviors that erode trust and team cohesion. They negatively affect our mission readiness, both at our allies and throughout the armed forces. They go against our core values and have no place in our ranks. But unfortunately, these behaviors still persist.
More importantly, this is a human issue, and each incident of harmful, inappropriate, and unprofessional behavior represents a teammate or teammates deeply affected or hurt by it. Just one incident of sexual assault or harassment is one too many.
Ultimately, this is about character. The mission of America's service academies is to develop leaders of character. Doing that demands a culture of trust and character growth, an environment where every teammate is treated with dignity and respect.
Throughout April, our respective academies are holding a variety of events to raise sexual assault awareness and prevention, and highlight the many prevention support resources we have available to better equip us in preventing these harmful behaviors and to let victims know they're not alone. and help is available for them if they need it.
But education and resources alone are not enough to prevent sexual violence. It also requires teamwork and action.
All of us are working together to look out for our teammates.
To speak up and step in when we see inappropriate and harmful behavior.
To change the culture where dignity, respect, and trust is the norm.
And to live and act in a way that America expects of its future leaders.
So join us together.
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 Together as we step forward and act to prevent sexual assault and harassment.
So that what you saw. You saw that all the superintendents come out and say sexual assault's bad, don't do it, report it. But you know, anybody been in the military, there's what they say and what's really happening. And that's where we see the disconnect of, okay, the senior leaders are saying how bad it is, but is it really trickling down to the leadership? And secondly, for me, I'd like to see a couple more NCOs on that video too, not just the 3 and 4 stars. I want to see some NCOs as well being part of this, because they have the responsibility. Everybody has responsibility. Like I said, everybody has responsibility. So that's what we hear from the leadership. Well, one of the things, and now we're going to special guest. One of the things I want to bring on is that one of the I want to announce is that we saw the video with the private talking about the leadership and retaliation. Has there been any change? Has there been any change? Just in the month of March, we've had 3 female soldiers die after reporting that they were sexually assaulted. Basadua, she and Ruiz, she died at Fort Hood, and so did Winkle. They actually were in Fort Hood. Both of them reported sexual assault. Both of them died by, well, we don't know exactly what happened with Winkle, but we know what Basadua, she died by suicide. Then the one to the farther right, she died. She was a National Guards person, sergeant first class. She reported sexual assault, and there was some disconnects, but you got to be very sensitive how they treated it. And she died by suicide. So has there really been a change of what we just saw with this sergeant? I mean, this Marine person.
This is exactly why nobody takes us seriously. Yo, what the
So is there a change? So this is what I want to bring to you for Sexual Assault Awareness Month, that it is still out there. And it's a little different about when it's in the military, because it's your brother or sister that is perpetrating this. This is somebody you don't expect to happen. That's why it's even, the disconnect is incredible. And then when you start trying to provide up the chain of command, sometimes they retaliate. So you get so much victimization, isolation, that suicide seems the only option. Well, I'll tell you what, I want to bring on, and you just saw earlier, our special guest that's going to be part of this. And I want him to talk about a little bit, you know, I told him earlier. First of all, I want to introduce Dr. Carlos Garcia. He is a Marine with a PhD, okay? So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what school he went to, but anyway, but I'm just kidding you. Dr. Garcia and I go back a long ways. I respect him a lot. I'm really glad that he's going to be here. And I wanted him, first of all, we're going to talk about that clip we just saw. But another reason why Dr. Garcia is here, he's going to be one of our guest speakers at our event, June 9th, you know, ticket there, June 9th and 10th at St. Pete College campus. So, hey, welcome, Dr. Carlos Garcia. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you for having me, Tony. Always good to collaborate with you, brother.
Roger that, man. And I want to bring on real quick. You got a new addition to the family.
I know. I got a son, Jonah, eight months old. Takes up a lot of my time and energy at the moment.
I thought he did. So you making excuses. So they said, she says, Carlos, take care. Oh no, I gotta go see Tony. I gotta live with Tony. I'm so sorry. So I know how you doing it, brother. I know how you doing it. But I'm just messaging. So what do you think? You saw those 2 videos. Yeah. What came to your mind when you saw that? And the kind of the this. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, you know, unfortunately and sad to say this, I'm not surprised by that first video of that female Marine, you know, talking about what happened. And the reason I'm not surprised, Tony, is because, you know, I work with a lot of veterans. There's a lot of veterans that come through my office, whether they're here, you know, coming for therapy, or I also, you know, support a lot of veterans in you know, in support of their VA claims for mental health conditions. So I hear these stories all the time. Okay. I hear these stories all the time. My reaction to that second video is, you know, I was surprised by one of the gentlemen, what he said there at the end. He said, we want to act together to, to support this. And it doesn't feel like an action. It feels like a reaction, right? That video, what it felt like to me is like, here's what we're going to have to say about how we're handling this. But it feels very reactionary because you see how many, both men and women, that are dying by suicide as a result of not being heard, as a result of not being understood, as a result of their military sexual assaults not being handled properly. And I think you said such a powerful word there, the victimization that goes on. I hear story after story, and I think with that second video was lip service, right? Yeah, let me tell you how we're handling it at the top, but most of the time it doesn't get to the top. I hear story after story about, right, the military is saying one thing, but they're doing another. And I think that tends to happen in a lot of organizations when it comes to military or any sort of sexual assault. Yeah, we're going to give lip service that we're going to handle this well. We're going to have your back, and we're on your side and this and that. But then when it comes down to it, what's happening on the front lines is there's a very, very clear message about how your military career is going to be handled, about rank and what may happen to you. There's a lot of fear that is justified, that if you speak up and say something, this is going to be adverse to you. So we might be saying one thing at the top, we're going to handle this, but it's not the reality of the case. It's the reality of what's happening out there.
Yeah, and I agree. And, with this conference coming up, you and I are lucky now because we're no longer part of active duty. And we don't have to worry about the retaliation, because imagine we start talking like that and we were still active duty.
Right.
And we don't want to disparage the military, but we got to speak up for our brothers and sisters that if you want to increase in recruitment, you got to do something about that, and don't just do the lip service. All right, Carlos. So now we just talked about that. One of the reasons why I brought you on, of course, is that you are being one of our guest speakers, and we want to give you just give the people who are watching on quick insight of what they're going looking for when they come to our conference.
Yeah, Tony, and I want to say one thing before I do that, because we're not speaking against the military. I mean, the military still holds a near and dear place in my heart, even all of these years later. But if we're talking about a organization, one of the most powerful organizations in the world that needs to be ready to execute its mission at every second of the day, right? And if we don't have individuals in there that can trust each other, if I don't have an individual in there that I can trust as my brother or sister to have my, to have my life in their hands, and this is what this is about, trust, a system that we can trust, a system that's got our back, then what is that saying about these organizations, whether it's military or otherwise? So I just wanted to sort of, preface that. I love this event that you've put together. I was a part of it last year. I think it gives folks an opportunity to finally come out and be heard. It gives us to start having the difficult conversations so that we can have change outside of, but in the military. What that second show tells me is that those voices are starting to get heard, and there's starting to be some change. So I think still a distance away where we want to be, but it's good that we're starting to have an impact. And these conferences that you've been together around MST, it helps us to do that. And so I'm absolutely proud and honored to be a part of it.
Thank you much, Carlos. I appreciate that. And one of the things we want to try to, and we're I was talking about that when we was in the green room. So sexual assault just does not start with the ends. It may start with the veteran, but doesn't end with them.
Right.
There's still an impact on the family. Can you talk about that real quick about how that can impact the family?
Yeah, absolutely. I think not only with MST, Tony, but with any sort of mental health condition that the veteran might be dealing with. It starts with the veteran because they're the ones going through it. But a lot of times we need to remember one of the big sort of messages that we hear in the military, which is to suck it up and keep moving forward. And oftentimes what happens there is when we come to that message, we tend to just repress everything that's going on. But, as a clinical psychologist, I know that we can only repress things so much before it starts to seep out in our relationships at home, in our relationships at work. Like, it's only a matter of time before that impacting how we're showing up for our partners, for our families, for our kids. And so, the family struggles through this process also. We need to be talking to the families. We need to be supporting the families in any of the work that we're doing when we're supporting our veterans.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and you're so right. Now, again, with Veterans Council Veterans, we're like, obviously we can't do it all, but we're like, we got to be focused on the families. If it not becomes generational, talk about that. So, yeah. I'm really excited. You're gonna be at our conference. It's on the 9th. Let me plug this real again. It will be on the 9th and 10th of June, over at the St. Pete Gibb campus. 2 days, 8 to 4, and through the rest of the whole month, you'll be getting a chance to talk a little bit to the coming guest speakers. Carlos is one of the guest speakers that's going to be there. So one last thing before we leave, anything else, Carlos, before we head on out of here?
Yeah, Tony, I just want to give you a lot of props, man. I know that you and I have been friends for some time, and I've seen the mission you've had in your heart to do the work that you do, man. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of people in this community that are rooting for you, myself included. It's because of you and because of your willingness to get out there and have the tough conversations and to get in people's faces and to make sure that we're being honest with each other and holding ourselves accountable. I think many people are starting to come out of the woodwork. I be a dialogue and a part of the conversation too. So I want to thank you for everything, my friend.
Thank you, Carlos. I thank you as well. I see you running around yourself on Bloom. You're like a regular now on Bloom TV. So I see you out there as well, sir. Take care of other people out there. So
thank you.
Whew. Okay, I'll talk later on the other side, Carlos. Thank you. Say hi to your missus and to Jonah.
Thank you.
So there you go, guys. So this is our segment for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Hope you got a lot out of it. See what's going on. Also, you heard about our conference that is coming up the 9th and 10th of June. In fact, 9th of June, I'm gonna put on here in the chat how to get into it. So in the chat, you should be able to see how you can log in, register. We got some hotels set aside, and let's just don't talk about it. Let's be about it. Finally, before I leave, we have our next guest, who's going to come on the 1st of May, and her name is Colonel Lisa Furman. She is a road warrior out there, talking about the women veterans. She got a book out. And let's just see a real quick thing on her, and then we can take it away. There you go. That's Colonel Lisa Furman. She'll be our guest next week. She'll be our guest speaker at the conference. And guess what? We got some more surprises coming up as well. So then, like I said before, looking at chat box, register, share. Sharing is caring, caring. Don't forget, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Now, this is Tony Williams. I'm out. Outro.